morning, boys and girls. Today we are going to do our assessment practice to prepare us for our test next week. Now, you're going to notice we're going to be skipping some pages. I want you to go to page 641 in your book. And that's where we are going to start today. You will need paper so that we can work some of our problems there. Let's read the first one. Tori is making a square table. Each side is 6 feet long. Is the perimeter of the table the same as the area of the table? And we can just cross through the explain part because we're going to draw our picture right now. We know it's a square table, so that means that each side is the same length. And we know that each side is 6 feet long. So on each side, we would have 6 feet. So the first thing we're going to solve is the perimeter. Now remember, the perimeter is simply adding the length of each side all the way around the shape. So our perimeter is equal to, how many sixes do we have? We have 4 of them. So it would be 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6. Now, we could multiply that 6 times 2 in each of these parentheses, but I think maybe some people were a little confused when we did that. So let's go back to doing our just simple adding all the way around. So my perimeter equals 12 plus 12, because 6 plus 6 is 12. And therefore, if I add 12 plus 12, I have, and let's just go right over here and add our 12 plus 12. 2 plus 2 is 4. 1 plus 1 is 2. So 24. And my unit of measure is feet. So my perimeter is 24 feet. Now, we also have to solve for the area. Remember, our area is length times width. And in this case, since we have a perfect square, all sides are the same length. So our length and width will be the same. So our area equals 6 times 6. Now remember, you should know these multiplications, and I hope you're practicing them at home. But if you don't, you know you could use repeated addition. But 6 times 6 equals 36. And when we're talking about area, it's square, and then whatever the measurement is, feet. So we've solved for our perimeter and area. Let's look at what the question is actually asking. It says, is the perimeter of the table the same as the area of the table? So let's compare. We have perimeter of 24 and an area of 36. Are they the same? No, they are not the same. Now let's look at number 2. Number 2 says, Robert's tile design is shown below. Draw another tile design that has the same area, but a different perimeter from Robert's design. So if we know that we've got to draw another shape based on the measurements of the first shape, the first thing we have to do is solve for the area and perimeter. All right, so we're going to start with our perimeter. So remember, my perimeter is simply adding all of my lengths. So this one's not a regular little rectangle that we can just neatly go around. It's an irregular shape. So let's look at the lengths of each part. So we have 1, 2. So that one's 2. So we got 2 plus, and over on the side, 1, 2. So we have 2 right here. Plus, down here at the bottom, 1, 2. And on the side, 1, 2. So I'm going to add 2 more 2's. Now at the top, 1, 2. So plus 2. And then on the side, 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to go ahead and write those in. I'm running out of room, so I'm going to put plus 3. And then over here at the bottom, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's plus 6, and then on the left side, 1, 2, 3. and plus 3. Now, we've got a lot of numbers to add. The good thing about 2's is we can just count by 2's. So I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So in this first part, perimeter equals 10. That's adding all of my 2's. Plus, we have 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 6 is 12. So I have the perimeter equals 10 plus 12. So my perimeter equals 22, and it's units, because we do not have the measurement, so it's units. Now that was just solving for our perimeter. We still have to solve for the area. And in this situation, all we have to do is we could just simply count the number of squares inside the shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So my area equals 14 square units. So my perimeter is 22 and my area is 14. Our new shape needs to have the same area, so 14 squares, but a different perimeter. So we have to make a shape that covers 14 squares, but that the perimeter is different from this perimeter, the outside line parts. I'm just going to make a simple rectangle that's going to have 14 squares. I think I'm going to start right here on the left and go 1, 2. I'm going to make my side measurement 2. And if I have 2 here, I know I'm going to have 2 on this other side. So that would give me 4. And, oh, that's right, I'm doing area. Let me start over. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Sorry, boys and girls, I was starting to do perimeter. So I've got 14 squares, and let me box them in. Here we go. That's better. Now I have my area equals 14 square units. Now let's see if my perimeter is different than the original shape. So there's 2 units on this side. Let's count the units on the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that makes this bottom one 7. So let's solve for our perimeter to make sure our shape has a different perimeter. So I've got 2 7s, so I'm going to 7 plus 7 plus, and I have 2 2's, 2 plus 2. So my perimeter equals 7 plus 7 is 14, plus 2 plus 2 is 4. And if I stack and solve, 14 plus 4, 4 plus 4 is 8, 1 plus 0 is 1. So my perimeter equals 18 units. So let's compare, boys and girls. We have the same area and we have different units. So therefore we have satisfied what it was telling us to do. Let's look at number 3. Number 3 says Della drew a rectangle with a perimeter of 34 centimeters. Remember, the perimeter is the length of the outside. She labeled one side 7 centimeters, but she forgot to label the other side. Write the missing side length in the box. So if I look at this shape, if this one is 7, I know that this side is also 7. And I know that my total all the way around is 34. So there's a couple of ways we could solve this. Let's take a look at how to solve it with subtraction, addition and subtraction. First of all, let's see, what known parts do we have? 7 plus 7 is 14. And we know that the total around is 34. So I would say 34 minus 14. 4 minus 4 is 0. 3 minus 1 is 2. So I know that for these two spaces, the total is going to be 20. Well, I've got 2 spaces, so 20 divided by 2 equals how much, boys and girls? That's right, it equals 10. So the missing side length on this shape is 10. Let's count it to make sure. We've got 10, 20. There's our 20. Plus our 14 is 34. Now let's look at number 4 on our page. It says, Mrs. G has 24 carpet squares. How should she arrange them so that she has the smallest perimeter? So she's wanting to put those carpet squares together to have the smallest outside measurement. Now let's think about what we learned in one of our previous lessons. And we're going to write a little hint right up here. The smallest perimeter will be most like a square. All right, so what does that mean? That means that the one that is closest to equal measurements all the way around is going to have the smallest perimeter. But let's check it out. If we have 12 by 2 rectangle, let's get our extra sheet of paper that I told you you would need. And we're doing number 4. And we have a 12 by 2 rectangle. That means that our rectangle looks like this. It's 12 on the top and the bottom and 2 on each side. And so to figure the perimeter, we would have 12 plus 12 for the two 12s plus 2 plus 2. And so our perimeter here would be 12 plus 12 is 24 plus 4. So this first shape's perimeter is 28 units. All right, so let's look at our second one. This was for A. For B, it says a 1 by 24. So if we have a 1 by 24, that's having one that's really long. So each end is 1, and the top is 24, and the bottom is 24. So let's solve for our perimeter. Our perimeter equals 2 24s. Let's add those together. 24 plus 24 plus our two 1s, 1 plus 1. Now that means that our perimeter equals, let's add 24 plus 24. 4 plus 4 is 8. 2 plus 2 is 4. So it's 48 plus 2. Now, boys and girls, what is 48 plus 2? It's 50. So our perimeter would be 50 units. Now, let's look at letter C. Letter C says an 8 by 3. So if we have an 8 by 3, and we're looking at our perimeter, we're going to have 8 on the top, 8 on the bottom, 3 on each side. Could turn our rectangle either direction. This just works out better for space for me. So my perimeter equals 8 plus 8 plus 3 plus 3. So my perimeter equals 8 plus 8 is 16 plus 3 plus 3 is 6. 16 plus 6. 6 plus 6 is 12. And so my perimeter equals 22 units. All right, so we're looking for the one that has the smallest perimeter. Let's see what our last one is. It's 4 by 6. Letter D, 4 by 6. So this time, we have 4 on the short sides, 6 on the longer sides. So our perimeter equals, I have two 6's, 6 plus 6, plus 2 4's, 4 plus 4. So my perimeter equals 6 plus 6 is 12, plus 4 plus 4 is 8. And so if I come over here and add my 12 plus 8, 8 plus 2 is 10. Bring your 1 to the tens columns, 20. So my perimeter equals 20 units. Now I have to look at my perimeters because we want the smallest units. I have letter D has 20 units, letter C has 22 units, letter B has 50 units, and letter A has 28 units. Which one has the smallest units? It is letter D. So our answer for number 4 is D. And notice that the color of this is most like a square. Not the color, excuse me. The shape of this is most like a square when I compare the shapes. That was why I said the smallest one will have this shape most like a square. Now, number 5 says Al's playground design is below. Which of the following shapes has a different area but the same perimeter as Al's design? So we want to have a different area and the same perimeter. So let's check out Al's perimeter here. So I'm just going to count them all the way around this time as we go. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So we have 18 is our perimeter. And my area, I can just simply count the squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And my area equals 10. Now for these irregular shapes, we can just count all the way around. So let's go ahead and find which one has a same perimeter but a different area. So letter A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So this perimeter is 16. Well, first of all, it said we need to have the same perimeter. Do we even need to continue to solve for the area here? Or do we already know it's not going to meet the qualifications? That's right, it's not, because they don't have the same perimeter. So let's take a look at letter B. Let's count our perimeter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. This one also has a perimeter of 16. We need the same perimeter as 18, so this one will not be our answer. Let's continue on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. This one has a perimeter of 20. Is that going to be the same as our perimeter of 18? No, but let's go ahead and check that last one, although I'm pretty sure about has to be it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. It has a perimeter of 18, but now let's check. It's got to have a different area than 10. Let's find out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The area is 11. We have found our answer. It has the same perimeter and a different area. So we have satisfied the requirements. Turn your paper over. Number 6. The perimeter of the sign is 24 feet. What is the missing side length? So we know that when we add all of these together, it has to equal 24. This is the length we do not know. So let's write ours down and we'll start adding them together. We have 3 and 1, so 3 plus 1 equals 4. Now we're going to add 6 and 6. 6 plus 6 equals 12. And then we've got a 1 and a 3 again. 1 plus 3 equals 4. Now I'm going to add all of these numbers together, okay? So 12, 4, and 4. I just like to rearrange them to make it easier for me to add. 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 2 is 10, which is a 0 in my ones and a 1 in the tens. 1 plus 1 is 2. So the perimeter thus far is 20, but we know that the total is 24. So how do we solve for this unknown number? That's right, we're going to subtract. So 24 minus 20, 4 minus 0 is 4, 2 minus 2 is 0. So my answer is, this side length is 4 feet. Let's find our answer. Oh, there it is, letter A. Let's look at number 7. Mrs. Kent measures the perimeter of a common shape. One of the sides is 7 centimeters, and the perimeter is 21 centimeters. If all of the sides are the same length, what shape does Mrs. Kent measure? So let's take a look. It says that there's 21 is your total perimeter, and one side is 7 centimeters. So we're going to take 21 and we're going to take away 7 because we know that all of the sides are 7 centimeters, but we don't know what the shape is. So let's figure out how many sides this shape has because it didn't tell us how many sides. So 21 minus 7, 1 minus 7 I cannot do, so I go to the tens column and I regroup. I bring that 110 over here. 10 plus 1 is 11, and 11 minus 7 is 4, and 1 minus 0 is 1. So I know I have one side so far, but let's see how many more sides of 7 centimeters we can get. So I have 14. 14 minus 7. Well, we already should know that 14 minus 7 is going to be 7. Can I take another 7 away? I sure can. 7 minus 7 equals 0. So, how many 7s were there? There were 3. That means that our shape is a 3-sided figure, that all the sides are the same. Do you remember what that's called? If you said an equilateral triangle, you are absolutely right. So, what shape does Mrs. Kent measure? An equilateral, equilateral triangle. Another way we could have looked at this was to say 21, what would multiply 7 times what would be 21, and then we could have come up with 3 at that rate also. All right, let's look at number 8. Number 8 says Kyle drew 2 shapes. Select all the statements that are true about the shapes. So here's his 2 shapes. So the first thing we have to do, because I see that they're talking about perimeter and area, is you're right. We're going to get another piece of paper, and we're going to solve for each one. So for the yellow shape, and this is number 8, for the yellow shape, they only have one measurement because each of the side lengths is the same. So they have a square. So each side is 4 centimeters. So let's do the perimeter first. The perimeter equals 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. So the perimeter equals 8 plus 8. So my perimeter is 16 centimeters. But now we need to solve for the area. So our area is length. Let me divide our space so you can see it better. Length times width. So my area equals 4 times 4 because it's a square. So area equals 16 centimeters. All right, now let's look at the second shape. The second shape is 2 centimeters and 8 centimeters. So I know automatically to solve for my perimeter that I'm going to have perimeter equals 8 plus 8 plus 2 plus 2. So my perimeter equals 16 plus 4. And if I add 16 plus 4, then I can come over to the side. 6 plus 4 is 10. Bring the 1 to the tens column, so that's 20. So I know that my perimeter is 20 centimeters. But now I need to solve for area. So my area, remember, the formula is length times width. So I have an 8 and a 2. Area equals 8 times 2. My area equals 16 square. Oops, I need to fix this up here and down there. Square centimeters. So sorry, boys and girls. So square centimeters and square centimeters. So let's look at our shapes. We have both shapes have the same area, but they have different perimeters. Let's check out our questions here. So, do the shapes have different perimeters? That's right, they sure do. So I'm going to fill in that first space. The shapes have the same perimeter. Well, we know they don't have the same perimeter. We just said they had different perimeters. So I'm going to put a little X over there. The shapes have different areas. Do they have different areas? No, they have the same area. The shapes have the same area. Yes, the shapes do have the same area. And the last one says the square has a greater area than the rectangle. Here's the square. Its area is 16. And the rectangle's area is 16. Is it greater? No, because they are the same. All right, so number 8 had 2 answers. So let's look at number 9. Mandy's trapezoid-shaped garden has a perimeter of 42 feet. She knows the length of 3 sides, 8 feet, 8 feet, and 16 feet. What is the length of the 4th side? Well, let's come over here to our paper again. We're at the number 9. And a trapezoid. Let's think, boys and girls. A trapezoid has 2 outside lines that are diagonal. It has a shorter line at, well, top or bottom, depending on which way you turn it. And then it has a longer line. So if I look at my measurements, 8 and 8, which 2 sides are going to be the same length? It's these. So this one would be 8 and this one would be 8. And then it has a 16-foot side. Well, that's going to be the long one on the bottom. So what we don't know is what is the length of the top side. But the whole perimeter is 14. So remember, the perimeter is the length outside added all together. So let's start with adding what we already know. We have 8 plus 8 equals 16. And then we have a 16 down at the bottom. So we would say 16 plus 16. 6 plus 6 is 12. 2 in the ones column, 1 in the tens. 1 plus 1 is 2 plus 1 is 3. So far we have 32 feet. But what is the total? The total is 42. So we'll just take that 42 and subtract that 32 to see how many feet is the top measurement. 2 minus 2 is 0. 4 minus 3 is 1. So my answer is 10 feet. Now let's look at number 10. And we're only going to do the letter A. We're not going to do B. Let's start with letter A. So number 10. Pepper's dog pen is shown below. Find the perimeter and area of the dog pen. So we're simply just solving for perimeter and area. So let's take our sheet of paper. Let's go ahead and draw our dog pen. 6 meters and 4 meters. So our perimeter, remember, is the length of the sides all added together. So I have 2 6's, 6 plus 6, plus I have 2 4's, 4 plus 4. So the perimeter equals 12 plus 8. Therefore, the perimeter equals 20 meters. So over here, we're going to write P equals 20 meters. Now, let's solve for area. The area equals length times width. 4 times 6. Those were our two numbers. So area equals 4 times 6. Area equals 24 square meters. So our area equals 24 square meters. And we are not doing number 11 either. So boys and girls, that was our review. If you are having difficulty with this, please let me know. I'll be happy to help you with it. Or also I can assign you some extra iReady on perimeter and area so that you're prepared for the test. Let me show you what your homework will be for tonight. You will have page 638, the vocabulary review. You'll fill these in. And then for the reteach, this will be good practice for you. For the reteach, set A, you'll do number 1, 2, and 3. Set B, you'll do number 1. And in set C, all you have to do is number 1. We're not doing number 2. And we're not doing set D. All right, boys and girls, I hope that hopefully this review will help you. Remember that when we have our test next week, this page, this assessment practice we just did, is going to match up with your test just right. So you will have number 1 will be a problem where you're solving similar to this. Number 2, number 3, each one. Do not lose this page. Keep it in your book so that you have it for when it's time to take that test. Okay, I'll talk to you later, boys and girls.